Well, hello, my horror hounds and truth sleuths. This is your hostess, Madam Hellfire, back once again to tickle your taste buds with another scintillating episode of Cinema Carnage. This episode is going to be a little bit different.
And now for something completely different.
Up until this point, I have not seen a single movie I've reviewed before. Not this one. This I watched when I was a young woman, but I have not seen it in its entirety again in over a decade. So this is going to be a trip down memory lane to a time when I used to wear heavy black eyeliner, black jingle pants, and nothing but black clothing. Yes, Madam Hellfire was a goth girl. This was also the time when I discovered my love and obsession with musicals, and couldn't get enough of them. Repo, the genetic opera. Before I even get into my spiel about the movie poster, I need to explain to you how insane this cast is. Let's start with the very first reason that I watched this movie to begin with, besides the fact that I was a Hot Topic thought, and that is Anthony Head, best known for playing Rupert Giles in my favorite TV show of all time, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I already knew even back then that he was an amazing singer, purely because of his performances in Buffy the Vampire Slayer. But what I didn't know until recently was that he was Dr. Frankenfurter in the 1990-1991 West End revival of Rocky Horror Picture Show.
How do you do? I see you've met my faithful handyman.
That was already cool for me back then, but then you stack on top of that the very reason that the longest running musical on Broadway of all time was created, the original Christine for Phantom of the Opera, Sarah Brightman, and you have my fangirl senses going berserk. The rest of the cast is, it's a wild ride with casting choices, I'll just say. You start with the main protagonist in Alexa Penavega, who is best known for playing Carmen Cortez in Spy Kids. Then you go into the main antagonist, played by Paul Sorvino, who I best know as Paul Cicero in Goodfellas, which I love Goodfellas, but why a musical role, dude? The last one that I recognize now and didn't recognize before is Bill Moseley, best known as Chop Top from Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. What the fuck? Top that off with Paris Hilton as a goth chick, and you've got the weirdest mix of characters I've ever come across in my life. Okay, I gotta calm down, that's too funny. Alright, let's look at the poster for this movie. Right off the bat, this is one of the best posters that I have ever seen for this series. The colors pop, and that beautiful wash of red over the character in it is just fantastic. But there's one thing that I just noticed that I gotta point out, and it says, from the producers of Saw at the top. So much already makes a lot more sense to me as an adult, knowing what I know now. Next, we'll get right into the summary of this movie, which reads, in the mid-21st century, an epidemic of organ failures leads to the rise of GeneCo, a company providing transplants at a good price. Those who miss their payments become targets of GeneCo mercenaries who repossess the organs. In a world of drug addiction and legalized murder, a sheltered youth, Alexa Vega, seeks a cure for her rare disease as well as information about her family's mysterious history. Her questions are answered at the genetic opera. Not gonna lie, this still is a fantastic premise, but does it hold up like I remember it doing? Before we get into that, let's get into some Rotten Tomato comments, shall we? Our first comment is from Daniel P. with a 3-star rating that says, a weird conglomeration of genres makes this an original film. There is definitely some Phantom of the Paradise and Rocky Horror here. There is also Southland Tales in it. There's a little Sin City. There's some Romeo and Juliet thanks to Paul Sorvino. There's some Creep Show, the horror comics at the beginning and throughout the film. There's some Phantom of the Opera as well. Duh. We've got Sarah Brightman. The problem with the film is that it is so highly stylized that it cannot support the weak premise. The premise is weak because harvesting organs is just not fun to me. If that is your cup of tea, your bag of joy, this is the film for you. You had my hopes so high with all the references, and then you dashed them away with this stupid comment about how this premise is not cool when it absolutely freaking is. The film seems to attack the viewer on purpose with how cool it's trying to be and how disgusting it's trying to be as well. It thinks it's way more clever than it actually is though, paling to other projects that are much, much better. Phantom of the Paradise, Phantom of the Opera, Moulin Rouge, Rocky Horror Picture Show,
Etcetera.
On the plus side, it is remotely entertaining if you want something visually and musically stunning. On the negative side, the music is not good enough to hold you to its story. The opera element was a nice idea on paper, but in the end they relied on Servino to carry the show all on his shoulders, who can sing opera beautifully in real life. They got the right person for the wrong product. There are simply too many holes in this one. Ugh! It's R, not is. Ah! Why do people on the internet not know how to English good? Jesus! Too many things you've already seen and bought the refrigerator magnet and the shirt going on in this. Holy run-on sentences, Batman. Is there supposed to be a 4 in there? I could barely read that. I did it like 10 times and still couldn't read it right. Rather than be original, they just bombard with cliche tropes and homages that are lackluster at best. I give this 3 stars for its overall look and style was great, the visual appeal is its great gimmick, as it used from steam goth characters in a dystopian futurescape to Tarantino-esque females donning shotguns behind mob boss Servino in an elevator with sunglasses on. The 2nd star was for the score, which although was not great, it was full of talented music and musicianship. The 3rd star goes to the cool comic book effect the movie leaves you with. I just wish there was a 4th star I could give for the story and plot, but in the end, this one just was a hollow log of a film. And your review is just a big old word salad that I could barely frickin' read. Thanks a lot, Daniel P. The next one we have is from Tabitha L, who gives a big old 5-star rating and says, for those of you who said that the plot had nothing to it and the music was bad, were you watching the same movie? The plot was the best I've seen for any movie since it wasn't a remake and it wasn't as straightforward. It didn't limit itself to horrible acting where the only saving grace is a scene of nudity or gore. This movie had an actual story, one that involved quite a bit of thought. It had many asking questions and even wondering who is the bad guy in this movie. Nowadays, everything is explosion, sex, slash, and dumbed down garbage. At least this movie is original and is entertaining, if not with the plot, then with the music. Considering for me it's the best movie out there, had a low budget where even those working in the movie were pitching in, and was started from a 12-minute stage play is just astounding on its own. Not to mention the acting was wonderful on many levels. Now I will say it is not as out there as the Rocky Horror Picture Show. It is interesting, but in a different way. The only thing those 2 movies have in common is there is music, so I don't know why people make that comparison. Oh, you sweet, sweet summer child. You are so ignorant and so naive. Oh, it's cute. In my opinion, it is very much Phantom of the Opera and The Crow. Some of you must have missed the finer points if you didn't think thought was put into this. Think thought. Those words right next to each other are breaking my brain. I'm not even kidding. Aside from a scheming king of apocalyptic Manhattan who, the more I think about it, put thought into his plans for a very long time, years, to the duality of Nathan Repo, the ties between all of them and Mag, everyone's individual story, and little things such as the beetle in the graveyard, Zydrate, and Joan Jett being involved. Honestly, from the big details to the small, what says that this had no thought? Tabitha, sweetheart, you have to stop with this obsession with thought and thinking. It's not a big deal. It's an opinion, honey. This is brilliant. It even has philosophical questions based on ethics and morals, vanity, good and evil. I could go on. And you do. 5 minutes of this movie has more substance than any Michael Bay film, for certain. Yes, a huge stretch because they aren't the same genre or anything, but it does make a point. Sort of. Anything has more substance than a Michael Bay film. I'm just glad to have found something original. Add in the fact that Sarah Brightman, who was married to Andrew Lloyd Webber, world-renowned soprano, was in the same movie as Joan Jett, should be enough to pique everyone's interest. And finally, we have a short review from Elizabeth C. with a 1-star rating. A DeviantArt steampunk goth artist's irritatingly cynical and overdramatic Broadway musical movie adaptation dream complete with bad singing and annoying nursery rhymes.
Got him!
Oh my god, this seems so perfect, I love it. And now that we've finally gotten through everything else, how about we sit down and watch it together, guys? Come on, watch it with me, come on, please!
Fine!
Yay! All right, must mentally prepare. Must get myself together. Woo-sa. Okay, let's get right into this then. Right from the jump, we get into an exposition dump that is in the form of comic book stills that read as follows. The not too distant future. An epidemic of organ failures. Millions die. Chaos. Out of the tragedy, a savior emerges. JinCo. Without a heart transplant, you will die. But I can't afford this operation. Don't worry, JinCo offers organ financing. JinCo's payment plans cheat death. For now. JinCo carves out a new niche, surgery as a fashion statement. JinCo also develops Zydrate, an expensive and addictive painkiller. Grave robbers sell a cheap version of Zydrate on the black market extracted from the dead. Roddy Largo, JinCo's founder, lobbies a bill through Congress. Organ repossessions are legalized. Roddy Largo and his kids, Luigi Largo, Amber Sweet, and Pavi Largo, the world's most powerful family. But for those who can't keep up with their organ payments, the Largos send in Repo men. And then they show some stuff and play some noises that I'll get in trouble for with YouTube, so I'm not gonna play those, but that was really fun to do. And right from that comic strip, we go into the musical bits. I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, everything is musical based. So now we're introduced to Grave Robber, the Zydrate Man, the myth, the legend, I guess. But apparently everybody really likes this guy. I remember really liking this guy. I just don't know if I will anymore. I do get a bit of a kick of him just coming around the corner like,
Hey, Mac.
Whoa, whoa, whoa!
You wanna buy a sundial?
he just goes on and on and on, the most long-form way of, ooh, he's a swoopy, scary skeleton. He'll find you wherever you go like Santa Claus. He sees you when you're sleeping. He knows when you're awake. He knows when you're taking a shit. Someone help me for goodness sake. And all the while you're hearing... We watch this poor, innocent woman looking over her shoulder, thinking that somebody's gonna get her, and she's right, because her throat gets slit and her heart gets pulled out, and the Repo Man just kind of looks at it like, ooh, pretty shiny. That's gory. And then Repo Man. Title screen. The next shot we get just shows how messed up this entire dystopian society is. We zoom in from the outside of this walled off city, and all you're seeing is bodies upon bodies upon bodies as you zoom in through all the mess to the JinCo building, all the while of hearing multiple propaganda pieces, including something saying that a person named Blind Mag, an opera singer, and Sarah Brightman, yay Christine, is having a farewell retirement performance. We go inside of the JinCo building and are introduced to, firstly, the Red Rum twins from The Shining, and then the Largo family, where big man Roddy Largo is looking at all of these pictures of his kids misbehaving like crazy, and their responses to him saying, "Y'all are trash," is hysterical. Before it really heats up too much, a doctor comes in through the same elevator as the Red Rum twins and sets down a clipboard of paperwork stating that Roddy is terminally ill and is going to die, for which he receives a bullet to the brain. Before I go any further, we're gonna take a field trip to the Trivial Theater. Take it away, Triv.
Roti Largo, surrounded by all his power and influence, confronts the plight of any dying industrial titan who comes face to ugly face with mortality and legacy. Who will he leave his vast company to? His opinion of the main contenders,
Maggots, vermin, you want the world for nothing.
shows just a tiny bit of doubt. His bitter contemplations are reflected in the rage of past decisions,
My children were robust. They shall inherit nothing.
including his hand in the death of his love, which he ultimately caused but doesn't take responsibility for.
It's been difficult to see you after what you put me through. You forced my hand and made me do.
Death, it seems, will thoroughly cover his tracks. The Largo offspring's chance at inheritance, his rather evil secret, and Roti Largo himself are, as the song says,
Thank you so very much, Triv. Link in the description below for her channel. We are then introduced to our protagonist for this movie, Shiloh, who traveled through an underground tunnel with a gas mask onto the grave of somebody named Marnie Wilson, and because of her love of insects, apparently, she goes against her better judgment to chase one particular one outside to try and catch it. While she's outside, she runs into our buddy Grave Robber, who is in the middle of going through the graveyard to dig up fresh bodies and make some Zydrate. This entire scene shows the dichotomy of man because on one hand, you've got Shiloh absolutely regretting leaving Marnie's tomb, scared out of her mind trying to hide, as helicopters go overhead, searchlights move across the entire scene, and guys in fucking SWAT armor are walking back and forth looking for somebody. And then you've got Grave Robber over here not giving a flying fuck about anything, just pulling bodies out, getting Zydrate from their nose using his little gun, talking about society's so messed up because everybody's high on Zydrate and buying body parts even though they're gonna be put in the ground anyways because they just can't pay for them. I also have to add that he gives off this really cool low note that just tickles me pink.
Lest it be you on the concrete below.
And not 5 seconds later, I'm thinking this guy is an absolute idiot and not as cool as he seems to be because he gets up and screams this. He grabs the body and tries to take off. She tries to go back into the tomb and gets locked out. We see this scene and I'm dying of laughter at this point. They end up in this big pit of bodies, and because he's just so obsessed with getting Zydrate, Grave Robber basically gets them all caught. And then we go to Rotty again. Rotty, being the good guy that he is, says let them go, and before they could shoot them, a Repo man comes up and stops everything. We notice that there's something on Shiloh's wrist that's saying blood pressure warning, you need medicine, and we obviously know that something is very wrong with Shiloh. She passes out looking at the Repo man and then wakes up in another bedroom and holy shit, she's been wearing a wig this whole time. Her father, Nathan, played by Anthony Head, comes in and just starts gaslighting the ever-loving fuck out of her. She's trying to tell him everything that she remembers happening. He's like, nah, you just missed your meds, passed out, and had a fever dream. You're good. That doesn't work, so he starts guilt-tripping her after that, saying, you almost died because you have your mother's blood disease. When she finally agrees to take her medicine and he gives it to her, he locks her in her room. This goes a little bit further than helicopter parenting. And instead of taking her medicine like she promised her dad she would, she goes on a 3.5-minute rant about how she's an angsty teen infected by her mother's genetics.
I'm infected by your genetics.
And now I sort of see why I liked this as a kid. Oh, this is so fucking cringe. Once we're done seeing her throwing her temper tantrum, we are then back to another comic interlude exposition dump. Let's go! Nathan's story. 17 years ago, two lovers, Nathan and Marnie, a happy marriage, a child on the way, the perfect life, until Marnie got sick. Nathan thought he found the cure. With time running out and Marnie losing blood, Nathan could only save one. We get our first solo number from Nathan, and while I remember actually really liking this one when I was a kid, I can't say I like it now, although the visuals are stunning for this scene. They try to put way too much into a song that just doesn't feel fluid and doesn't make enough sense. It feels very rushed, and though I understand we're trying to show the juxtaposition of Nathan's guilt as a husband and father to something more dastardly in the background, I can't get over how creepy it is seeing holograms of Marnie everywhere. It's just weird, bro. It's just weird. The only thing I really liked about this song is the ending bit, the transition to the next song, where we see Nathan go from being the obsessive, loving father to the legal assassin that is the Repo man. Holy shit, I've got goosebumps, my hair is standing on end, and I'm literally having flashbacks to Hannibal Lecter. Oh, it's so good. For the next scene, we're gonna go to see my buddy Tipster. Take it away, homie.
So, when I was asked to watch this movie, Repo, the genetic opera, I was very interested in this. I heard it was a musical, and I'm not real big on musicals, if I'm being completely honest. But having said that, after watching this movie, this is one of those movies that's almost so bad that it's good. So I was asked, hey, would you like to react to a song? And if so, what song in the movie? And so I was like, sure, I'll definitely do that. And I picked the song Mark It Up rather, from the movie, because I found this song to be very interesting. And there's a lot of really weird things that are said during this song. So without further ado, we're going to react to this live on stream. And we're going to I'm just going to kind of give my thoughts as we go along. So without further ado, chat, let's go ahead and react to Mark It Up from Repo, the genetic opera. Here we go, chat.
Lungs and livers and bladders and hearts. You'll always save a bundle when you buy our Tinko parts. Slings and intestines and spines and brains.
You know what's really sad is I can predict, or I can foresee a future where like organs and like body parts are sold at wholesale like this. Like you could just like, hey, you know what? I'd like to have an extra heart. Why the hell not? Just because you can. Like I could totally see that. Or where like people are just like harvesting limbs like it's no big deal. And it's just like a big business. I could totally see that happening in the future.
All at warehouse prices, but our quality's the same. Tinko.
Do you guys remember a time when Paris Hilton was like everywhere? She was in like reality TV shows. She was in movies, much like she's in this movie here. Like she was like everywhere. You couldn't turn anywhere without seeing Paris Hilton. And nowadays she's kind of fucking irrelevant. Like what is Paris Hilton doing these days? I don't think she's doing anything. I don't know. What did she get famous for? For doing a sex tape or some shit? I don't know. Something like that.
Where the fuck is Dad, brothers?
He left me in charge, sister.
I don't take lip
From my slut.
What the hell? Did she just grab her own brother by the balls? Like, what kind of shit is this? Yo, what kind of shit is this? This is... What the... This is so bizarre. This is the most dysfunctional family I've ever fucking seen. What the fuck?
Brother and sister should
Party?
Oh my god! Did I just hear that? Hold on a sec. Can I run that one back? Can I run that one back, chat?
Charge, sister.
I don't take lip
From my slut. My brother and sister should
Party?
What? We're encouraging incest here? Bruh, okay.
Shut the fuck up. I'm the smartest and the toughest. I will find a hole and fuck it.
Damn, everybody thinks that I'm fucking like really raunchy and shit like that, and I'm like some kind of horn dog or whatever, but this guy's talking about fucking anything that has a hole. Jesus Christ.
If there ain't one, I will make one. Luigi don't take shit from no one.
Okay then. I don't even know what to say to that one. Okay then. We got a bunch of horn dogs in this family who just go around chopping people up. All right then.
Brain, mark it up. Only I got brains enough. That's why Pop will leave gene code to me. Me.
So these guys just found out that their father has like a terminal illness, and their first response to finding out that daddy's probably going to die really soon is fighting over who's going to take over the family business. I guess I was right earlier. This is the most dysfunctional family I've ever fucking seen. Jesus Christ.
Ask a gentleman who they prefer. 10 out of 9 will say the Barbie. The most dashing, pencil snatching. I will leave your diapers dripping.
These dudes are so fucking horny. Like, why are they so goddamn horny? You know what these guys remind me of? They remind me of that guy that you knew in high school who would always brag about how much sex he was having, and then you later find out that he wasn't having any sex at all. That's what these people sound like to me. Holy shit.
Hearts, mark it up. Bobby steals all of the hearts.
You ain't got the guts, brother.
I'll bark but no lungs, brother.
That will leave Jinko to me.
You wait, time will tell. Bobby's face will woo them all when I inherit Bob's stuff. Take Dad's will and mark you out. Take my cut and mark it up. Mark it up. Mark it up.
Why are these guys talking about like getting laid and taking over the family business while just tossing around like organs and hearts and brains and shits like that? Like, these guys are mentally fucked. What is wrong with them? Holy fuck, chat. What did we just watch? What did you just make me watch? Damn.
I made him suffer too. Thank you again, Tipster. His YouTube link is in the description below. Things get hairy as we go back to Shiloh, who's watching Blind Mag, her idol, and she gets a call on her smartwatch from Roddy saying that he knew her mother and he knows how to get her a cure. Once again, we have another comic interlude exposition fest number 3. Let's go! Rotti's story. 17 years ago, two lovers, Rotti and Marnie. He thought they had the perfect life until Marnie met Nathan and broke Rotti's heart. When Marnie got sick, Rotti saw an opportunity to get even. Sneak this into Nathan's lab. With Marnie's blood on his hands, Rotti could only punish one.
AYO What The Fuck?
And the bitch goes on to brag about killing Marnie. Bro, you way beyond petty right now. What the fuck? Shiloh somehow escapes from her locked room and goes down to meet Roddy at her mother's grave, which she was at earlier in the movie. And the way he meets her is so goddamn extra. He flash bombs the tomb, drags her out of it, and then puts her in the car so he can serenade her and get her to try some Jinko cure. Be some kind of guinea pig. And he's just smooching her and sweet talking her and trying to get her to do anything he wants. And then goes, Daddy doesn't need to know. Oh, that is so creepy. Stop it. And then we get to my favorite part of this movie, thankless job. It is so satisfying to see Nathan full-blown Hannibal Lecter Repo Man mode. Oh, chef's fucking kiss. The LSD trip kicks up to 1,000 and we are at this renaissance for Jinko where everybody is trying to try out new parts and elective surgery stuff. We see Pavi getting his dick sucked by 2 different women while his face is grafted on. We see Luigi running around stabbing people because he didn't get the right kind of coffee.
What's this, rat piss?
It's just wild. And all the while, Blind Mag's face describes me watching this. It is also really funny to see the juxtaposition of Paris Hilton's voice against Sarah Brightman's. Night and day difference.
Who's gonna sing then after you leave?
But please, it's not my place.
Someone must sing, why can't it be me?
Roddy shows up with Shiloh and breaks the children up while they're fighting, and then Shiloh meets her idol, Blind Mag. You can already tell Blind Mag knows something is up because she looks so taken aback. And then we get another comic exposition dump. Yay! Blind Mag's story. 17 years ago, 2 best friends, Mag and Marnie. Mag was blind, Marnie was dating Roddy. Roddy had Mag's cure. Now Mag could see. It looked like Mag had the perfect life until she realized her contract was signed in blood. Now and forever, Mag must serve only one. After this exposition dump, we see a press conference between Roddy and Blind Mag, and it is so damn awkward. He makes a comment that she still belongs to Jinko and then laughs it off like it's a joke, but we all know it's not a joke. Shiloh gets thrown into a tent under guard, and Nathan gets sent out to go reclaim some dude's spine. And they end up on this really dumb call together where they're trying to hide what they're actually doing because Shiloh's alarm for her medicine goes off again. So he calls her to say, hey, take your medicine, and they're both just trying to dance around the fact that they're both not doing what they're saying they're doing. And it's just really, really funny. After that, Gravedigger comes in like a Kool-Aid man.
Oh yeah!
And steals Shiloh away. We then cut to Roddy, who has no idea what's going on and is trying to deal with the press by calling out Amber to talk about Zydrate. Amber doesn't show up and he's pissed. So we go into another exposition dump segue, baby! Amber sweeps a no-show. Again. With Pavi's face stealing and Luigi's temper, are Roddy's kids worthy heirs to Jinko? And with Amber's ever-changing appearance, rumors circulate. Is she hooked on surgery and street Zydrate?
She belongs to the streets.
For the very next scene, I will go to another friend of mine. My third friend here, Empress K. Take it away, Empress.
Grave robber. Grave robber. I loved this song when I was 15 years old. Hello, my beautiful Roy. You're not my royals. This is not my channel. Well, hello! For those of you who do not know who I am, which is honestly all of you, I am Empress K. But you can just call me Empress because it's honestly going to be a lot easier and I'll probably only really respond to Empress. And I've been tasked with the most important thing in my life ever. By most important thing, I mean doing this particular segment for Madame Hellfire. Yes. I told her I would do this months ago, and here I am, actually committing. This is new, okay? This is all new. I will be reviewing one of the musical's headlining songs. That is right, we are talking about the Zydrate Anatomy. So, much like our gracious host, this musical dominated my life as a teenager, back when Nexopia dominated our lives. The Canadian kids will get it. By the way, that website is still up. If you ever wanted to time travel back to the late 2000s, after this video, there you go. With that being said, let's jump into the song. Let's go. Let me set to the stage. Shiloh and Grave Runner run away from what could only be known as the Renaissance Fair of Horror. Not the good horror either. No. This is the I am stuck in a bad trip, get me out type of horror, and that's not a good place to be in. They go by a Zydrate support group, which, okay, let me be real here. The poster is basically how I read. That is how I read anything, honestly. Dyslexia, it is fun, don't have it. And of course, Grave Robber, like he does, he's a drug dealer after all, and like every good drug dealer, is going to be making some bag. Because even though people go to these support groups, they will still use. Kind of makes them scum of the earth. Not them, but the drug dealer. But I mean, I digress. This is not this type of video. A song is sung. Amber comes out, gives Shiloh information Shiloh did not know she needed. Then the police come, because I mean, Amber went missing, because she also ran away from the horror for a different reason. She wanted her fix. And the Grave Robber and Shiloh hitch a ride back to Shiloh's house at the back of a body pickup truck. Yes, this all happens. And it's fucking glorious. So this song serves one purpose and one purpose only. Or well, at least it was supposed to only serve one purpose. And that was to give Shiloh a plot device so the story can continue. Now, the showrunners could have easily just given her the plot device and she would have been on her merry way. But instead, they decided that they chose world building. And I am here for that. I love world building. I am a slut when it comes to world building. So yeah, let's go. World building is my kink. Don't kink shame. So this song helped out with world building and gave us a puzzle piece we didn't even know we needed. See, Shiloh is a 17-year-old girl who has no idea how the world works, and she needs her hand held while navigating it, which in turn can be used for exposition, which is a trick that a lot of writers do use. There's somebody that knows nothing about anything into a world, and then they ask the questions and need to get explained, as if they were the audience member as opposed to you being the audience member. Zydrate Anatomy showed Shiloh the underground and how the drug market works in this particular world. Yes, of course we see the drug. Yes, we do see Grave Robber at the beginning of the movie obtain the Zydrate, but we don't actually ever see it being used. We just see glimpses of the actual drug itself. But it's not until we're able to see the actual impact that the drugs has on people, we aren't able to actually fully grasp how dangerous this particular drug is, as well as the fact that we won't be able to make our parallels without seeing any visuals with it. I'm pretty sure a lot of people can make pretty stark parallels between them getting high and Amber getting high, going to a meeting with us for a support group, and coming out seeing their drug dealer out there going, yo, you want a fix? Or something like that. I don't know, I just thought it was kind of a neat thing that they chose to do all of this within a short amount of time. Within a song, like a first half of the song. That's actually kind of amazing. A lot of movies can't even do that in a movie. So the way that they tie in Shiloh getting the plot device, which is a magazine article, is beautiful. They also give us a little bit of character in general for Amber, as we get to see a little bit more of her motivations. And at the end of the day, even though technically speaking our grave robber is probably the lowest of the low, he does make sure our darling girl gets home safe. So musically, the song itself was kind of cringe. Grave Robber did a good job at singing. Shiloh's vocals weren't on display here, so we don't get her full range. And honestly, I think Paris Hilton was just kind of bored. But when it comes to storytelling and stuff, this song did do a good job of that. So I mean, all in all, even though the movie itself is kind of cringe, they did a pretty good job here when it came to storytelling and world building. So props to them. I'd like to take this time to thank Madam Hellfire for allowing me to have a spot on this particular collab. It was actually really fun, even though I'm pretty sure in some parts I do kind of sound very low energy. That's just my vibe. Anyway, so continue watching this video, because I can tell you right now, this wild ride is not done yet, and I am probably the least chaotic one you guys will be seeing today. So yeah, have yourselves a good day, and don't forget to subscribe, and comment to Horror&Hellfire, because she fucking deserves it. And if you don't, I will smite you.
Thank you so much for subbing in for that one, Empress. Her link is in the description below. Shiloh makes it back on the back of a dumpster truck, and Grave Robber gives her a cute little wave goodbye. Nathan gets home and is none the wiser that Shiloh's been out all night. I still have no fucking clue how Shiloh's getting out of her locked bedroom, but we do know now that she's been using a tunnel under the stairs to get to and from Marnie's tomb. Before Nathan can even sit down and take a breath, he gets another call from Roddy and is told to go to his office at Genco. Nathan shows up with the spine he'd gotten earlier to find the entire Largo family waiting. He drops the spine off on the table, and Luigi's response to this is he starts dragging up what happened to Marnie, Nathan not knowing that Roddy was actually to blame and the one that killed her, and starts guilt-tripping the fuck out of Nathan. Oh my god, these people are terrible. And then we find out the entire reason that Nathan is a Repo man is because he made a deal with Roddy to keep the secret of Marnie's death from Shiloh. He is then dressed in the Repo man garb once again and thrown into an ice locker full of bodies and a new victim. The line we get with this is actually pretty cool. Look at this.
At the dead doctor with the hungry scalpel, here's my prognosis. Will they live? Doubtful.
We then watch the Largos bait Nathan into becoming the Repo man once again by basically just telling him, you're a monster anyways. There's no point in hiding it. There's no point in fighting it. And watching him struggle with his inner demons at this point is very difficult, because you could tell he wants to be better for his late wife and daughter, but he doesn't think he has any other option. The struggle ends with this.
I remember
even with all the internal struggles, Nathan still says no, and Roddy loses his mind. We are back to Shiloh, and look who's come to say hello. It's blind Megan. Holy shit, does she look good here, man. And now we've got an answer to my question of how she's getting in and out of the door. She's got her own key. The cool factor dies as soon as they get into the actual song because, oh my god, they misuse Sarah Brightman so much here. Ugh. She's got such a beautiful voice and you want her to sing pop-ish stuff? Huh? Why? They then do this weird singing over each other thing, and it's not good. I'm gonna show you how it should look in 2 examples. One actually has Sarah Brightman in it with Antonio Banderas, and then the other is from the spin-off of Phantom of the Opera, which is also not a very good musical in my opinion, but this is actually one of my favorite songs from it.
My spirit and my voice in one combined.
On my side, I want her long ago. I want her from you, then I wait you and I now. I'll once her again. And when the game is done,
Either way, devil take the hindmost.
Look at those, and then look at this one.
Better that you don't forget me. Shelter rose, best if I resume to bloom outside her bedroom.
Please tell me whether or not you can actually understand what either woman is saying here, because I certainly can't. And just as Mag's about to leave, Nathan shows up. Oh, let's go, ladies and gentlemen, it's about to go down. This whole interaction starts with a bomb drop from Mag, calling Nathan out, saying, bro, you told me Shiloh was dead. You know I'm her godmother and that I promised Marnie I would be in her life. Why you doing this, dude? Shiloh shows her concern for blind Mag, asking and begging her father to let her stay because she knows for a fact with her leaving Gene Co, they're gonna try and repossess her eyes, meaning she's going to die. This then turns into Mag showing concern for Shiloh, trying to calm her down, while Nathan is just having an absolute fit trying to throw her out, which he does eventually do. While Nathan tries to drag Shiloh up into her room and make her stay in there, gaslighting her the entire way, she goes and grabs a magazine she has and says, Dad, look, even in the magazine it says her eyes are gonna get repossessed by a repo man. Help her, please. And he just keeps telling her, nah, it's not our business, nah, it's cool, just leave it be, she'll be fine, she'll be fine.
Are you sure about that?
He then proceeds to tell her shut up when she keeps bugging him about it, and the tone immediately shifts. He tries to make up for that little quip, but she swerves him with this.
I'm just 17, and it's better than 40.
The lights go out, and when they come back on, the look on her face just made me stare at my computer screen and laugh. You think you're Avril Lavigne or something? I'm confused. The cringe is too strong, guys. The cringe is too strong. We then get a cringy dream sequence of Shiloh being a rock star, telling her dad to fuck off, I'm an angsty teen.
17, nothing's gonna bring it back. 17.
Alice Cooper does this better, but okay. The only cool thing about this sequence is that Joan Jett's in it, and who doesn't fucking love Joan Jett if you love classic rock? Come on. And then Nathan does what I want to do this entire dream sequence. Shiloh goes back to normal before passing out, and then we are back at the Largo compound where Roddy is getting ready for the opera. Amber Sweet comes in looking all covered up and talking about how maybe this last surgery went a little bit too far, and she says this line while Roddy is trying to comfort her.
I will never sing again.
Yeah, please don't sing anymore. He ends up getting fed up with her and turning her around. They try to pull this Phantom of the Opera bullshit, and it's just bad. Look at this. Roddy agrees that he'll have her face fixed by one of his surgeons before the opera, and he goes into this weird rendition of Money Makes the World Go Round from Cabaret.
Gold, it makes the world go round.
It just doesn't make any sense to me that this movie wants to take so many ideas from other musicals and just do them badly. After this point, we get into some really big spoiler territory, so I'm gonna say spoiler warnings if you actually want to go watch this movie. Otherwise, let's finish this cringy chaos flick. During his song about how gold and money makes the world go round, Roddy reveals who he's going to give his money to. It's not gonna be any of his kids, it's gonna be Shiloh. He's gonna do the ultimate betrayal like Marnie did to him and give all of his fortune to Shiloh Wallace. We're back to Nathan and Shiloh, and he finds out Roddy's been talking to her, which he is not happy about whatsoever. After gaslighting her again about Blind Mag, he goes off to try and get ready to take Roddy out. And while this is going on, Roddy is trying to get Shiloh to come out and go into his own vehicle to attend the opera. Nathan is then attacked by some Jinko guards who are then dispatched very quickly. Shiloh gets into Roddy's vehicle, Nathan has a hit put out on him, and everybody descends upon the opera for the final act of this movie. We then get another cheap rip-off performance that is akin to the floor show in Rocky Horror Picture Show, the beginning of the genetic opera. And I can't show any of this because there's just half-naked girls gyrating on screen, moaning, and then somebody shows their tits. Can we not be this cringy? Can we just not for 5 seconds? We're back with Shiloh, who is up in the Jinko offices with a video from Roddy twisting everything we've seen previously. He's saying that Nathan, the Repo Man, is after her and that he tried to kill her in the graveyard, which we saw was not the case. He tells her the only way for her to get her cure is to capture and kill him before he kills her. Amber gets on stage, and just to sum up what happens, I'll give you this clip.
Blame not my cheeks, nor play with love they be.
And then her face falls off and she runs away embarrassed. For the next musical bit, I'm gonna go to my friend Nox's archive. Nox, take it away.
Before I begin this lovely segment of this movie, I have to say, sitting through this was a chore. I had to go to Wikipedia just to understand the plot, but I promised a good friend who I have worked with many times that I would take part in this. Still, this whole entire movie was a confusing mess, so let's see if I can set up this scene. Rupert from Buffy is playing a repo dude who has refused to go after a character named Blind Mag. Blind Mag has transplanted eyes, and she has to work that shit off by performing opera for a character named Roddy. Sarah Brightman plays Blind Mag, and she is the reason I chose this part. Because Sarah Brightman is a classically trained singer and deserves so much better than being in this shit show of a movie. Anyways, here we are, at the opera, where the beginning of the end, well, begins. All the characters are here, and Blind Mag's lowered down from the ceiling. So let's listen to Sarah Brightman's classically trained voice. Oh crap, it's in another frickin' language. So it is in Italian, and I don't know Italian. So I went to a website to translate the lyrics into English. The song she is singing is about a bird with bad luck. A bird named Chromagia. I think that's how you say it. It's either that or Chromagia. I'm gonna go with Chromagia. A bird that is constantly hunted and shot at with arrows. Pretty much symbolism for the fate of Blind Mag. Roddy wants her dead and has hired the Repo dude to do it, but the Repo dude refused. But also how she is trapped with bad luck. She was given the gift of sight, but it has become a gilded cage. Forced to work off her debt. Even her outfit is symbolic of the song in a way. Her eyelashes are big and feathery, and there's feathers on her very gothic costume. Which honestly, Sarah Brightman rocks this look way too well. Anyway, she stops singing, and it looks like she has a revelation. If you look at her face in this scene, you can tell that she has made up her mind about something. Then she goes back to what lowered her from the ceiling and begins singing. And that is when we get the first hint of what she is planning. That is, if you speak frickin' Italian. To translate, she sings, "Down towards the devil's mouth. His arrow is my eyes." Her eyes. That is what is keeping her in her gilded cage. And then she sings in English.
I would rather be blind.
Oh, sweet God, mother of all dragons, dildos, what the hell? Oh, I'm gonna be sick. Oh. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back.
5 hours later.
Sorry about that. I have a bad reaction to eye stabbing. Where was I? Oh yes. She gouges out her own eyes, and Roddy, being the king of assholes, cuts the rope attached to the device suspending her in the air, and so she is impaled, which does not cause a mass panic, which is not surprising for this movie. But this is the end of Blind Mag. She went out on her own terms. But can we have less eye gouging, please? Did you see the entrails? Ugh.
Yeah, that was pretty disgusting. Thanks for that one, though, Nox. I'm sorry I had to put you through all that. I'm not sorry. Link is in the description below. The final act of this genetic opera, as Roddy calls it, is the curing of a sick girl, when really this is the final nail in the coffin for Nathan, the final punishment for betraying him. For this, I'm actually going to do something a little bit different and bring in my fifth and final friend, Mike the Bike. Mike, help me show this one to everybody, won't you?
Didn't I tell you not to go out? Didn't I?
You did, you did.
Didn't I say the world was cruel? Didn't I?
You did, you did.
Tell me how this happened, what I did wrong. Tell me why. Can we just go home shy and forget this dreadful night?
Didn't you say that you were different, didn't you?
I am.
Say you aren't that person, say it.
I am.
Then tell me how to act, Dad, what to say, Dad, tell me why. All you've ever told me, every word, is a lie. Didn't you say that you'd protect me, didn't you?
I tried.
Is that how you'd help me, is it?
I tried.
Don't help me anymore, Dad, you are dead, Dad, in my eyes. Someone has replaced you, Dad, I hate you, go and die.
Didn't I build a house, a home? Didn't I? Didn't I raise her all alone? Didn't I? Then Roddy took her from me, stole my Shiloh, he's to blame. Have I failed my daughter? Let the father die, and let the monster rise.
Nathan uses this newfound anger to go out on stage and wreck the Red Room twins, but quickly is brought down by Luigi and Pavi. They open the curtains to reveal their entire plan, well, part of it, because Roddy's not telling his kids everything, and Nathan is outed as the one that killed Marnie, quote unquote. We know it's actually Roddy. The final secret also comes out, that Nathan has been poisoning Shiloh to make her sick this whole time, just so that he can keep her close forever. Shiloh passes out and wakes up to find her father in a wheelchair, Roddy handing her a gun and saying, "I will leave you, Jinko, if you kill your father right now in front of all of these people." Instead of doing that, instead of taking the easy way out, she turns the gun on Roddy. Shiloh hesitates to shoot Roddy, and in that moment, when the lights go out, she takes the gun and shoots Nathan himself. Roddy collapses and dies. Shiloh and Nathan have one more musical moment together to say goodbye, and Shiloh walks out of the opera free at last. We get a reprise of Zydrate Anatomy with Grave Robber basically saying that everybody's dumb for having this blood feud and Jinko's up for the taking. And that is where we end Repo the Genetic Opera. So, Madame Hellfire, what do you think of this movie? That answer is extremely complicated. Rewatching this a decade later, I can understand why young me liked this musical so much. Back then, when I first saw this movie, I loved it because I was an angsty goth girl like Shiloh. I saw myself in her. And now that I'm older, it doesn't hold up. It doesn't hold the same weight as it used to, and the rose-tinted glasses have lifted. What do I still like about this movie? I still love the aesthetic of the movie. I still love the premise of the movie. I love Anthony Head, Sarah Brightman, and Paul Sorvino in this because their voices were still fantastic even with the shit they were given. I don't like some of the other casting because it was just so cringy and I could tell it was just a grab at pop culture. For example, having Paris Hilton try to sing in this. She's not a singer. She's not a good actress, but she was popular at the time. The music was horrible. I think they should have had some sort of talking in between, more so than just singing random stuff with music that didn't fit together very well. I didn't like how the story was executed because it came off as a jumbled mess, and while I did enjoy the comic book things in the beginning, I ended up just becoming very, very annoyed by the last one they did. Would I suggest this to any of my friends? Obviously I did because I got people to come collab on this with me, so yes, I would. But only because it's fun to cringe about it with other people that you care about that will laugh at it with you. Is it good? No, but it's not the worst movie that I've ever reviewed, so I'm gonna give it an amusing rating on the scale. If you want to go watch it, go for it. If you like this movie, that's fine. I'm not gonna get on you for that. It's not my cup of tea anymore. I've changed. My tastes have changed. It's just not for me anymore, but I can see where people would find it amusing. I'm just really glad there aren't any sequels that I have to review next year. Wait, no. Wait, no! Thank you once again, everybody, for coming on this wild, wild ride with me. Special thanks to Empress, K, Nox Archive, Trivial Theater, Tipster, Mike the Bike, Psych Draws, and Kat. Thank you guys so much for being a part of this. I can't thank you enough, really. This has been a project I've been looking forward to for months now, and having you guys be a part of it means the world to me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I wanted to take this time to thank my Patreons and channel members. Your support is so greatly appreciated and I can't thank you enough. If you'd like to become a Patreon, there is a link in the description below, and if you'd like to become a channel member, just go ahead and click that join button and join the Truth Sleuths and Horror Hounds. All channel members and Patreons receive 24-hour access to videos prior to their public release and exclusive updates on my progress. After a certain tier, you can request that I do a certain topic or movie review, or you can even request that I do a game live stream, whichever works for you. At the highest tier, you not only get to choose the topic in which I cover, you get to either co-host the stream or the video that I do that covers said topic, no matter if it's one or multiple. Of course, this is not obligatory. If you want to support the channel, I greatly appreciate it, and once again, thank you so much.